Has announced that it would be suing President Cyril Ramaphosa and ministers in the security cluster. This is over the destruction to property as well as widespread looting in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Leader of the party, Herman Mashaba, says that his party would be pursuing a groundbreaking lawsuit against government over its failure to ensure proper law enforcement and protection of lives, property as well as livelihoods. The party has also called those whose property and businesses had been affected to come forward. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba joins me live now. Mr. Mashaba, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Let's first speak to what you believe has caused this unrest in the country, these acts of criminality as well as political instability.
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon to the listeners. I think this whole mess that our country is finding itself in is as a result of the internal battles and factions within the ANC, firstly, and secondly, is as a result of President Cyril Ramaphosa failing to provide the leadership at the time when the country actually needed it.
Let's speak about the lawsuit that you are planning to launch against the government over the looting and violence that we have seen in recent days. Who exactly are you targeting, and what exactly will be contained in this lawsuit?
Well, I think in this case, I'm not a lawyer, but I think, fortunately enough, I've got a set of good lawyers who we believe we've got a very strong case. But obviously, it's going to be a long, protracted one because they're going to use your taxes and my taxes to defend themselves. The case is against President Cyril Ramaphosa as the responsible president to protect our lives, protect the properties of South Africans. They knew about this explosion or implosion for some time and did absolutely nothing. This whole matter, you remember when the week after the Constitutional Court announced the arrest of Jacob Zuma, we started seeing people breaking the law, shooting guns, disregarding the COVID regulations. And nothing was done. And I'm sure all of us are aware, we started hearing about the coup d'etat plans and so forth. In a country where we are paying to have an intelligence services, no one did anything about it. When we started having these disruptions with the blockage of the N3 trucks being bent down, we requested, I know as Action SA personally, I wrote an open letter to the president requesting him last Sunday when he was to address the nation in the so-called family meetings, says, Mr. President, please, you need to really bring out the army to assist our law enforcement agencies because the police cannot really deal with the situation. But secondly, please ensure that you can establish 24-hour courts. In the event that anyone is arrested, they must immediately be put before a court of law so that those who are found guilty, they must face the consequences, going join Jacob Zuma in jail, and those who are free, then let them walk free. But you cannot just really leave this to chance. And look at it, what happened. Only brought in the soldiers 24 hours, 48 hours later, and only putting 2,000 soldiers on the ground. It's a shame, and I think the president, the minister of police, all the security clusters, including the ANC, because all this mess is as a result of their internal battles, fighting to ensure that they can have access to the looting that they've subjected to us to for the last 27 years.
While murmurs of this planned coup d'etat have been doing the rounds quite frequently in recent days, let's speak to why you are taking aim at the ruling party, the ANC.
Because what is happening now is directly the Zuma and the President Cyril Ramaphosa's factions. These two factions are fighting to be the ones in charge of the resources of the country, not to act in public interest. Now, because Cyril Ramaphosa has always made it clear, abundantly clear, ever since he took over as the president of the country, that his priority is the unity of the ANC. What about us as South Africans? The president of any country in a constitutional democracy, your responsibility is first is the unity of the country, not the unity of the ANC. So he focused his efforts on the unity of the ANC instead of the country. And now look at what is happening. I was in Soweto today. It would really break your heart. The people in Jabulani had to go and buy bread. They had to really go to Rodiport. You can look at the damage caused with the businesses in Soweto. You can see this was not just looting of groceries. These people were determined to destroy the economy of this country. And I don't understand why they actually targeted the poor black areas first. They should not have attacked any area. They have no justification for anyone to really attack the integrity and the sovereignty of South Africa. But Cyril Ramaphosa and his government actually, unfortunately, let this country down, and we will have to really hold them accountable through this legal process that we are undertaking.
Let's speak about some of the issues that you have highlighted in your last point. Let's speak about solutions, though. What can be done to address the state of poverty, the hunger and unemployment in the country? And as a party that plans to contest the upcoming local government elections, what solutions are you bringing forward?
Well, the first thing that South Africans, if we are serious about a prosperous South Africa, because let me tell you something that is very clear and abundant. ANC and a prosperous South Africa cannot coexist. So one of them has got to die, and it can't be South Africa. So the first thing that we've got to do as South Africans is to get rid of the ANC, so that we can really bring in an accountable government that puts people of South Africa first before they put the party that can be there for people of this country. We have to invite the private sector to really work with the government that creates a conducive environment for the private sector to invest so that our people can be employed. Unlike what we've experienced the last 27 years with the Tripartite Alliance. You know, the high levels of poverty that you are talking about was deliberately caused by the ANC and COSATU and the so-called South African Communist Party, making our people poor, depriving them of education. This poverty that you are seeing in our country, it's self-inflicted, created by the ANC, so that our people can be dependent on government. So we need a government that will ensure that our people prosper. The people are clever. Jacob Zuma, you remember how he hated what he called clever blacks. We need a government that can love to see clever blacks, because clever blacks will be able to go to school. They'll be able to run businesses, run professional government, run a proper country. That is what we need. Unfortunately, as long as we've got this virus called the ANC, there's just no way that this country will ever prosper.
So, Mr. Mashaba, over the past few days, our viewers have been literally witnessing the unrest and acts of criminality and just this devastating impact that's been caused. Apart from the legal action that you are launching, is there any other bid that you are trying to attempt now to assist businesses who have been affected by the unrest?
Well, tell me, is there any businessman anywhere in the world who can look after the entire country when you have the government where we pay taxes? I can tell you, over the last 40 years of my business career, I've been one of the biggest taxpayers in this country. Outside my involvement in NGOs. Now tell me, how on earth can you really get one person to take care of government? Why are we paying taxes? We are paying taxes so the government can really create a conducive environment that are safety, so that our people are not really made to really be poor. So that is why I'm saying is, as South Africans, let's focus on removing this virus, this cancer that has actually destroyed our country the last 27 years.
But Mr. Mashaba, I'm sure you've noted that many South Africans and ordinary South Africans for that issue have been playing their part to take part in whether it's cleanup operations or assisting shop owners or businesses to get back on their feet. Are you mobilizing your members to also partake in these kind of activities?
Just got home about an hour ago. Just look at on my social media platforms, look at where I was and how many people, thousands of people we fed since 9 o'clock this morning up to now. Just got home because I had to come home for this. it is there on our social media platform. Should I look at action as throughout the country, what we are doing on our own, helping the businesses to clean up, the feeding people, look at going into my social media platforms. You look at the last few hours, how many thousands of people have fed.
And lastly, Mr. Mashaba, I'm sure you've also witnessed those deadly clashes that have taken act in Phoenix in KZN. And of course, we've had the police minister visiting that area as recently as today to also address residents. What do you make of that situation there? I mean, it's already being said that these incidents are not racially charged, although residents might dispute that. What's your assessment of that?
Well, it's a very, very unfortunate situation created also by this coup d'etat that these criminals wanted to plunge our country into. I think, for me, and I said this this morning in Soweto when I was addressing some of the business people affected by this and talking to people of Soweto. Honestly and truly, I believe the next so-called family meeting, President Cyril Ramaphosa, please come to us with people behind this, because the people who are behind this destruction of our economy, causing much more job losses, causing the anxiety in our people. Please ensure that within the next 48 hours or so, arrest the people behind this, because they are the people who created this, creating it as if it's going to lead to racial polarization, which is unfortunate. People have got a right to really protect themselves when you as government of Cyril Ramaphosa, you are unable to protect the people. And now it will really be seen to really be racially motivated, which is really very, very unfortunate. And in fact, if you had listened to President Cyril Ramaphosa, what he said last Sunday, where he was talking about ethnic mobilization, what nonsense is this? This matter, as much as it started in KZN, I've got family, friends, and people who are living in KZN of the Zulu background, who are very angry about what's happening in KZN. And for the president to really call ethnic mobilization because of the Jacob Zuma's people using the Zulu nation for their own political nefarious reasons, I think it's totally unacceptable, because then it will lead to our Indian communities coming on, or white people, colored people, or even us as black people. I think we've got to really be very careful. Let us not be diverted our attention from the real problem. The real problem is this virus called the ANC that is only interested in looting this country with impunity. That's really what they want to do. For them to really go out and want to destroy the economy of this country so that there can be chaos, so that they can continue looting. What we are going to do, we're going to fight to ensure that all of them, they must go to jail when join Jacob Zuma.
Well, Mr. Mashaba, unfortunately, we have to leave our conversation here. That's Action, says Herman Mashaba. When we return, we take you